On Tech News Today, Apple Pay, Android Pay, and now Amazon Pay. Plus, we'll tell you about the company that could clobber Microsoft's HoloLens. And why is the FBI maintaining a secret surveillance air force? We'll tell you all about it on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. This episode is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 100-plus job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidates fast. Try ZipRecruiter with a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, and other Apple products are worth at Gazelle.com. Tech News Today is the show where we talk about the tech news with the journalists who report it. Welcome to the show. My name is Mike Elgan. Our co-anchor today is ZDNet contributing writer Kevin Tofel. Welcome to you, Kevin Tofel.
Hey, good to be here and helping people get through the hump day of the tech week.
Yes, the hump day, the all-important hump day. And one of the ways that you've been getting through your days these days is by using your Apple Watch and Todoist. I read an article, really interesting, that you wrote about being productive, getting things done by using your wrist. Can you tell us some of the takeaways that you took away from writing that story?
Sure. So Todoist has always been one of my favorite apps to get things done. And it's actually one of the better Apple Watch apps. So if you've seen or you haven't been impressed by the Apple Watch apps, I would definitely take a look at Todoist, which is free. You can create tasks right on the wrist using voice interaction. You can view your tasks on the glances. It's really simple to use and really, really well done. I have to give a shout out to the Todoist folks. They did a great job.
And do they have an Android Wear version as well?
I don't think they have one for Android Wear. I'm almost positive they have an Android version, but not for Android Wear yet.
So I'd expect that to be forthcoming any minute now. So we'll keep an eye on that. And by the way, I'm on This Week in Google today, later on today at 1 p.m. Pacific. So if that happens by the time that show hits, probably won't. We'll certainly mention it on that show. So anyway, Kevin, why don't we jump into the news? Now that Google has officially launched Android Pay, and now that Apple Pay is the leading mobile retail payments market, is leading that market, Amazon wants a piece of the action as well, according to an exclusive on the information by Amir Efrati. And Amir joins us now to talk about it. Welcome to you, Amir Efrati.
Hi there.
Now, Amazon's online store is an alternative to brick-and-mortar stores. So why does Amazon want to be involved in mobile retail payments?
Well, Amazon views commerce as commerce, so it wants to be wherever people are buying things. It doesn't really matter to them where it is. So they've already taken some stabs at trying to partner with physical brick-and-mortar retailers by launching a dongle that you can use to swipe credit cards and kind of a point-of-sale software that they can use and things like that. And I think they're looking now at what Apple is doing in particular, as well as Google, and saying, okay, we should probably find a way to play in this space. And they're trying to figure out a strategy so that you don't have these other rivals who are really getting in there. Another reason why this is important is, Amazon has a marketplace of third-party sellers, so it already acts, as this place where you can go and retailers will actually set up shop within Amazon. So this is really about kind of extending its business, and it's seeing these other tech companies get in this space. It really needs to figure out a way to play too.
Amir, you had noted that Amazon actually approached Samsung, of all people, to work with them on a payment solution. Were they looking at Samsung Pay, which has now ingested Loop Pay, or something else entirely?
No, I think that they are just looking for any partner that they can find. So what we reported is that in recent months, they've approached a variety of retailers as well as phone manufacturers and wearable device manufacturers to see if they can partner in some way on this kind of mobile commerce, payment product. With Samsung, it does seem like a bit of a stretch because Samsung has its own payment product that it would want to actually work with Amazon on anything. But I think Amazon feels like its value proposition is the fact that it's a very trusted brand by consumers. And so, if people are used to buying from Amazon online, if they're going to be shopping in a store and using some kind of new phone-based payment or watch-based payment, maybe they'll be more comfortable using Amazon as that software to actually do the transaction. So it's trying to make that point that it's such a trusted brand. It has more than 270 million customers, obviously a lot of them here in the United States where all this action is taking place with the mobile payment space. So it feels like that's part of its value proposition. Another thing that it could offer to retailers is, for certain kinds of transactions, it could actually save those retailers money on credit card processing fees, because Amazon is a really huge retailer, so it's negotiated really good rates with the credit card company. So if it's going to handle the credit card payments in stores, it could actually save these retailers money potentially. So that's kind of one carrot that it could offer. But I think that it's still trying to figure out the strategy. We really don't know what it's going to end up launching, but this is really interesting to hear about how it does not want to sit on the sidelines anymore.
Now, you had mentioned that Amazon is a trusted brand. That's a big advantage, that they have 270 million, I think you said, customers, and more importantly, those customers' credit cards on file, already ready to go. Another advantage. But what are the challenges and barriers for Amazon to get into this space?
Well, obviously, they do compete with brick and mortar retailers. So getting big retailers to partner with them is a fairly big long shot, which is why they're probably going to focus on the smaller retailers, the longer tail. At least that's how it seems to be playing out. The other thing is that, I think they're looking at all of these new wearable devices, and they really kind of want to get in there and be part of that market if these wearable devices are going to be used to buy things. So if you're going to take your Apple Watch and you're going to go to a store and quickly make these transactions, if Apple starts becoming a really big player in this, that's not going to sit well with Amazon. And I think one of the things that's really interesting that we haven't really talked about is, the fact that these wearable devices could end up being huge for payments. And obviously, we're going to see a lot of loyalty programs become part of these mobile payment solutions. So I think at WWDC next week, Apple is expected to announce a lot of loyalty programs that the retailers who are accepting Apple Pay can actually implement into Apple Pay. So, these things are actually going to become a bit more useful to consumers. But it is a challenge for Amazon because they don't have great distribution. They don't own the iPhone. They can't get in there very easily. So they're trying to partner with these phone manufacturers, say, hey, will you carry our app, our payment app? If we partner with you, it's very unclear that they'll be able to do that. Certainly not with the bigger players.
I can't wait to see if somebody first walks into a mom and pop brick and mortar bookstore and see if they want to accept Amazon Pay, or whether they say, get out. Get out. I don't want to hear the A word. Amir Efrati is at theinformation.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Amir. That's AMIR. Thanks for joining us today, Amir.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we got some more news for you in just a minute, but first let's talk about ZipRecruiter, one of our sponsors and the very best way to hire somebody. If you're going to hire somebody, you don't want to do it the old-fashioned way, because it doesn't work anymore, and here's why. Because the qualified candidates are scattered hither and yon across the internet. It'll take you forever to slog from site to site to site, whereas with ZipRecruiter, you can post to 100 or more job sites with a single click, including the social networks, which is very powerful: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and even Google+. Let's take a look at our job. I don't know if you have that, Jason. We have our own job posting. We're looking for a video editor. And you notice that we have our Twit logo on the top. This looks like it's coming from our site and so on. So we went in there and customized it. And this is a very, very powerful way to find a video editor or whatever type of person you're looking for, any type of professional. And again, this is just such a welcome way to hire, because they filter out the unqualified candidates for you, and they will handle all of the annoying grunt work associated with hiring somebody. And I really appreciate the fact that they do that for us. They also have a feature called Traffic Boost. They basically put your job alert into their daily job alerts, which goes out to a huge number of people, which gives a shot in the arm to your job search right from the beginning. And they also have a cool blog, which you can find at ZipRecruiter.com/blog, and they'll give you lots of advice for hiring people. So I want you to try ZipRecruiter today with a free 4-day trial and get your preferred candidate before they go to somebody else. And again, that's a 4-day trial. You can complete your hire in 4 days, all for free. So give it a try. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. Remember that, ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. Well, the secretive augmented reality company MagicLeap, which is backed by Google and other major companies, announced yesterday a development platform for the creation of third-party augmented reality apps. Dean Takahashi is the lead writer for GamesBeat at VentureBeat and joins us now to talk about this new development. Welcome to you, Dean.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks for being on. Now, what kind of content creator is MagicLeap really looking for here? Are they looking for game developers?
Yes, they are. They have a seasoned game developer on staff, a guy named Graham Devine, who made some games like The Seventh Guest in the past, and he's been active trying to recruit game developers to make animations that they can overlay right on top of like your view of reality through these something like sunglasses. You can sort of think of it as like the next generation of Google Glass. And they're also very well funded. It's sort of part of another war between Google and Facebook. And MagicLeap's job with augmented reality is to make Oculus and virtual reality look bad. Google invested, along with some other folks, $542 million into this Florida startup last fall.
Dean, that actually segues right into my question here, because with Google and others plowing so much money into this company, I mean, that's $500 million. I find it ironic that just last week, Google announced their Cardboard virtual reality version 2, along with software tools for people to, create virtual reality type applications for phones. So, I mean, isn't Google really competing against this company in some respect?
Yes, it is. And then at some point in the future, you can expect that these things are going to converge, right? You're going to be wearing one set of glasses, and maybe when you want to see something really immersive, you're going to flip the glasses so that you can't see anything outside of the virtual world, and that's virtual reality. And then you press a button, and then the fog sort of clears, and then you're going to see the real world, and then you're going to have these overlaid images on top of the real world, and that's augmented reality. So I think at some point when the technology gets good enough, these are going to be the same things. So yes, Google is playing a lot of different parts of this market right now, and they're probably going to converge. There was an interesting report from a market researcher called Digit Capital that forecasts that the combination of augmented reality and virtual reality is going to be a $150 billion market by 2020. And their interesting prediction is that augmented reality, where MagicLeap is focused, is going to be 80% of that market.
It's a really interesting idea of what you're talking about here, the size of the market. Everybody wants a piece of this market for so many reasons. The content creators know that they're going to be able to get a huge amount of money for content. If you look at the difference between casual games or mobile games on the one hand, and the console games, the console games are making huge amounts for each copy of every game they sell for the top brands, and of course on the hardware end, it's just a dream come true for the likes of Intel and the graphics companies and so on, because virtual and augmented reality requires lots and lots of very powerful hardware. And so this is going to be, there's going to be a lot of money made by lots and lots of different companies. Now, Dean, you reported that their development kit, the MagicLeap development kit, will work with the Unreal and Unity game engines. Does that tell us anything about what they're thinking, where they're going, or anything about the development kit itself?
Well, both those engines are capable of really high-quality graphics now. And they've released some trailers of what they have in mind. There's a first-person shooter game where some mech-like monsters come into your office, and you have to look at them and point at them and to shoot them. And these things look pretty real. And so the graphics quality of what they're eventually going to want to get to is so that you can't tell the difference between the animated part and the reality part that you're seeing through the glasses.
Dean, earlier this year, we saw Microsoft actually jump into this realm with their HoloLens, and I see a lot of similarities there. Do we have a sense yet of how different that is, or actually how similar these two products are?
Definitely, Microsoft is going with holographic technology. MagicLeap hasn't really said that much about what they're going to do. You know, the only indication that we have that it's really real is just the amount of money they've raised. It's an insane amount of money. It's probably what you really need in order to experiment a lot and then develop brand new technologies and get something to market that nobody's ever seen before.
Really interesting stuff. Dean Takahashi is at venturebeat.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at DeanTak. That's DeanTak. Thanks for joining us again today, Dean.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Pinterest finally got its buy button, or as the Pinterest calls the new feature, buyable pins. Garett Sloane writes for Adweek and joins us now to talk about it. Welcome to you, Garett.
Thank you, Mike. Hi, Kevin.
Now, what is a buyable pin? I've never seen a buyable pin. What is that?
Well, yeah, we haven't seen them yet because they're just starting to launch at the end of the month on iOS, so Apple devices. And I called them shop pins. Go shopping. That was my little joke.
Oh, nice.
So just have a little blue button we see on the screen there. You put it right next to they're not ads. The brands like Macy's, Michael Kors, Kate Spade, really any of the brands that put a lot of pins on Pinterest get this little blue button, and people can search for them and just buy right there. So it's something Pinterest needed. It just makes sense there. So they added it.
So, Garett, do we know if the companies that are selling things through Pinterest, are they working out deals to maybe split revenue? Are they creating licensing agreements or anything like that? I mean, from the business side, how do they make this work?
That was one of the things that interested me yesterday, just to see them launch it and say, oh, we're not taking a revenue cut. We're not taking 10% of any sale. They can put the brands can put the pins on there for free. So yeah, it doesn't look like Pinterest is taking cut right now. I think they just want to get brands to put more on there, get more people shopping through there. And then I can only imagine that being able to promote the pins at some point as ads are the way to really monetize them. If you could target the person and get it right in front of them, then that's where the money comes in, probably through the ads, unless they eventually do decide to take a cut. Maybe it's like this. We've seen this before. A tech company will lure the brand in. Hey, use this, and then all of a sudden say, "Oh, you want to keep using this? Let's see some of the money." So that's a distinct possibility, right?
Yeah, that's a business model pioneered by drug dealers. So Garett, buyable pins are obviously going to be searchable, and they're going to come up along with regular searches. So if you search for some product category, buyable pins and regular pins are going to pop up in that search result. Has Pinterest promised that they're not going to favor buyable pins in search results, or have they not said anything about that?
I don't know the answer to that. Whether they get, if you have a buyable, it has a. I'm not as familiar with Pinterest's algorithm in terms of returning results, but it looks like in that format that there is a whole category where you can either specifically shop for pins with buy buttons, or they pop up in a whole sort of separate area, and the rest of the results are below them, depending on which part of the app you're in. So I think they do look like they're favored in some way when the buyable pins are all at the top of the screen in some of the searches.
Yeah, and this is going to look a lot like The Fancy, which is a website that isn't that heavily trafficked, but has this model of like Pinterest-like posts with an easy way to buy stuff. Although I'm not sure that they've been successful financially. I think the bigger picture here is that all the social networks and other sites are becoming essentially places to buy things directly. So you have a lot of ads that are out there in the wild with, click to download, click to buy type of things. This is yet another example, and Amazon must be freaking out because, of course, in the old days, you used to have to go to Amazon.com to buy stuff. Now, you can buy stuff anywhere. Garett Sloane is at adweek.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Garett Sloane. Thanks for joining us and explaining this story, Garett.
Thanks, Mike. Right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, the FBI is operating a fleet of airplanes outfitted with surveillance technology. The Bureau is apparently able to fly over cities to track suspects by monitoring their cell phone locations, and they also can do other neat tricks. Lauren Walker is a reporter for Newsweek and joins us now. Welcome to you, Lauren.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. Now, how widespread is this? I mean, for example, how many airplanes does the FBI run, and how many states are they doing this in?
So the Associated Press broke this story. They were able to confirm that the FBI has 50 planes at the very least. And since late April, had conducted around 100 or more flights. And they've done this around 11 or more states, AP's thinking. So it's pretty widespread.
So, Lauren, the tracking surveillance technology, I think it's called Stingray, and it's made by the Harris Corporation. How does the FBI use this to track suspects or get information that they're, just trying to track down?
So the Stingray is able to, it mimics a cell phone tower and is able to connect and determine location, other identifying information. So it basically will connect to many cell phones, and I guess the purpose is to locate a specific cell phone. So that's one of the things that civil liberties advocates are worried about, is that many people are going to be involved when they're not actually involved in the investigation.
Now, Stingray is one brand of tracker. There's another category. Now, that's that's a brand. That's I believe it's a licensed brand. But there's a category of tracker that's more aggressive called a dirt box. Love that name. Somebody should trademark that immediately. And you also mentioned something that I hadn't heard associated with this story, which is kind of an ongoing story to a certain extent, which is that they're also outfitting these airplanes with video surveillance technology. Can you tell us what you know about that? Are they actually have video cameras on these planes as well?
So, as I said, the Associated Press story, they mention video capabilities. I have actually talked to a former FBI agent earlier this morning who was talking about how they've been doing things like this, flying, surveilling since the 60s, and he had binoculars. So, I mean, the fact that they probably have very advanced video technology is not surprising at this point.
Lauren, so in this day and age of information, I mean, consumers actually have ways to get information as well. And one of those ways is to actually track flights in the sky. Is it possible to actually track the flights of these particular surveillance planes?
I'm not sure. I'm guessing. I don't know if there is a block or anything. I'm not familiar.
And one other question that's probably unknowable, because of course the FBI is extremely cagey about this information, which is that Stingrays can be used on the ground as well. They don't have to be mounted to an airplane. Do we know if the FBI is using Stingrays at ground level from cars, for example?
Yeah, exactly. So you can put these in cars. They can be handheld. There's instances in Florida where we've found that they were handheld and someone was tracking someone while walking. This has also been proven used by local law enforcement, which can get from FBI this technology.
And so before I let you go, one quick last question, which is the legality of this. Is this legal? Are they obeying the law here? And also related to that, I guess, are they doing NSA-style mass surveillance, or is this targeted surveillance?
So the FBI is claiming that they aren't doing mass surveillance. They are only using this for specific investigations that are ongoing. The piece says, and the FBI people they talk to say that they aren't necessarily getting warrants for the video, but they are definitely getting warrants for the Stingrays, which I think is the result of revelations about the Stingrays and pressure from outside. So, yeah, this is definitely can be in any vehicle. And actually, I mentioned at the end of the piece that there was a similar story that came out about the Department of Justice and the CIA working in cahoots to do a similar thing, and they had stingrays in their airplanes, and they were able to suck up information from thousands of phones. So that's pretty mass, if you ask me.
All right, wonderful. Well, Lauren Walker is at Newsweek.com, of course, and you can follow her on Twitter at LaserLauren. Thank you so much. I should say Laser Lauren. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
All right, bye-bye. Well, it turns out that it's possible to crash Skype by typing in a few characters. Jason, do we have Emil on the phone?
Yeah, he's proficient right now. We're getting him on.
Wonderful. So we're going to have Emil Protalinskir in just a second. Emil is a senior writer for VentureBeat, and he's going to join us now via Skype unless it crashes because somebody typed in the wrong characters. So we'll have him on in just a second.
Mike, I got him ready to go. We just need to do your throw to him again.
Okay.
Because it was so it's clean.
So we'll fix it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me give it a little slate.
Okay.
Sorry.
We should get one of those. Emil Protalinskir is a senior writer for VentureBeat, and he joins us now via Skype. Welcome to you, Emil.
Hey, guys. I lost power, so
Yeah.
I'm on Skype,
so now
on a BlackBerry on a mobile connection, so I don't know how well this is going to work.
Wow, the miracle of mobile
crashing,
technology
so
and
that's
batteries. All right, well, we'll see if we can get through it. Thank you so much for hanging in there and figuring out how to get through. Now, what are the characters that actually crash Skype? This is like the beginnings of typing in a URL, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's HTTP : / followed by : again, which is obviously not a common set of characters. That extra colon at the end is presumably what screws everything up. And while Skype didn't say it specifically, we're assuming that whatever function they were running to check URLs, because they're probably doing some filtering on URLs, didn't expect that colon, and it overloaded whatever buffer or whatever function they were running and screwed everything up.
Guys, I sent a text message to your smart home and crashed your house. I will not do that again, I promise.
Well, now at least we know it works.
Exactly.
Yeah, that definitely worked on me.
So, quick question: is this happening on Skype for all platforms, like mobile devices, Windows, Mac, and everything else, or is it specific to certain platforms?
So yeah, I mean, this bug has been fixed, so that's right off the bat. We should say that. It was happening on Windows, Android, and iOS. It wasn't happening on Mac, and it wasn't happening on Windows 8 Metro or Modern or whatever they're calling it now. I don't know about BlackBerry, which I'm on right now apparently, and but they have fixed it on. They do say they fixed it on all platforms, and so if you want to avoid, one of your friends or family members screwing up your Skype, just go to skype.com/download and get the latest version. And on mobile platforms, go to your app store, search for Skype and hit update, and you should be good.
All right. Well, great news that it's already been fixed. Emil Protalinskir is at venturebeat.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at EPRO. Thank you so much for joining us today, Emil.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
It happens. Believe me. You don't need special characters to have Skype come and ruin your day. That we know. In mergers and acquisitions news, Google has acquired a company called Lumidyne Technologies, which makes a variety of sensors. Google paid about $85 million for the company, and Lumidyne sensors might be useful with Google's self-driving car project and a bunch of other stuff that they're working on. They also make a vibration energy harvester, which I thought was really interesting, and that could someday charge smartwatches and other mobile devices by basically tuning into the vibes in the universe, man, and charging your smartwatch or whatever that way. Are you familiar with this kind of technology, Kevin Tofel, this vibration energy harvesting technology?
We've seen a number of kinetic type energy harvesting tools that have been come and gone, basically. So, there's a market there. I mean, obviously, we all need more battery life in our mobile devices. Personally, I would love to see this become a reality in the smartwatch, because the biggest time I lose battery life is when I'm actually active, when I'm out running and using the GPS and so on, and the various sensors. So if as I'm running, I can like recapture some of that energy, maybe I'll run faster, longer, or my watch certainly will. So it's a win-win to me.
I have the feeling that smartphones of the future and smartwatches of the future will use a multiplicity of techniques to not to replace charging, but just to give you extra time. And we've seen a lot of news recently about smartphones and tablets embracing indoor mapping technologies, which just drain a battery in just no time at all. And so I think that in the future, mobile devices of all kinds will not only have regular charging, probably wireless charging, but also solar panels on the front and back, behind the screen, and they'll have, other alternatives as well, because it's simply going, battery technology, let's face it, isn't keeping up with the advances elsewhere in mobile technology. And so they're going to have to come up with some pretty clever tricks to keep our devices powered throughout an entire day as the additional power is thrown in there. Well, we got a show wrap up for you in just a minute, but first, before we go, let's talk about Gazelle. Gazelle is a fantastic place, as always, to sell your used gadget. And of course, the way you do that is just go to GAZELLE.com, click whether you want to buy or sell, and then let's say you want to sell, okay? So you click on sell and you go in there and you say, well, I've got an iPhone, or I've got an Android phone, or I've got an iPod, or even a laptop. But you go in there and you pick the device that you want to sell, and then you tell them what the condition is. So if it's broken, you can indicate that. If it's in perfect condition, you can tell them that. And then they'll give you a price. They send you a box, you put it in the box, and off it goes, and then you get paid, and then you can take that money and buy another device. It's a wonderful way to recycle, essentially. It's better than recycling, because essentially they're going to take your phone and they're going to find a new home for it. And so instead of throwing it in the landfill and having somebody go out there somewhere buying a brand new phone that has to be manufactured through a very environmentally unfriendly process, your pre-owned phone is going to get into somebody else's hands, and then that new phone won't have to be manufactured. It's the environmentally friendly way to deal with the device that you have sitting around that you don't use anymore. And again, they will often even buy broken iPhones. So if you've got a cracked screen or whatever, don't hesitate. Go to Gazelle and find out what that is worth. They will pay you really good money for it. Find out what your iPhone's worth. Just take a minute and go to Gazelle.com to find out. And we thank Gazelle, as always, for supporting Tech News Today. Well, our TNT fan of the day is Eduardo Casconero in Houston, Texas, who posted this picture on Twitter. And here comes the picture. There it is. There's there's our friend Homer Simpson, and which I don't think I could work in an office with Homer Simpson staring at me with his beady eyes, but somehow I guess it is possible. Eduardo does it, so I guess it can be done. Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. You don't have to have Homer Simpson or any other character. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup and post it on Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. Use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT so we can find it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tech News Today. Kevin Tofel, what are you working on these days? I've seen a series of really interesting articles come out in the last week, and I've really enjoyed reading them. But what do you got coming up in the next week?
Well, so next week is Apple's big worldwide developer conference, so we'll see all the new iOS 9 stuff and some Apple TV and HomeKit stuff, I would imagine. I'm also playing with a $299 Asus Zenfone 2, which is Intel powered, has 4 gig of RAM, and I'm putting it through the paces, so you can expect a review in the coming days.
When I was a lad, the only $300 phone was the OnePlus One, so it's nice to see more devices entering into that category. And of course, you can follow Kevin on Twitter at Kevin C. Tofel. Thank you so much, Kevin, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, take care. You can subscribe to Tech News Today on Stitcher, or you can choose another way to subscribe at twit.tv/TNT. You can also watch us live every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1800 UTC at live.twit.tv. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, come on in and watch us as part of our studio audience. Just send email to tickets@twit.tv. And if you'd like to help us grow our audience, here's how you do it. Just post a link to twit.tv/TNT on your favorite social media site and tag 3 friends along with your recommendation to subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at Tech News Today TV, and you can follow me personally on Instagram at instagram.com/Mike Elgan with 1 E in the middle. Also, don't miss Tech News Tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific tonight and every single weeknight. This show was produced by Jason Cleanthes and edited by Anthony Nielsen. My name is Mike Elgan. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.